Alright, so let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens, because man, this team has gone from being left for dead to suddenly making everyone sit up again. You can feel the shift in energy around Baltimore. Like the whole organization decided enough was enough, from a 1-5 hole to fighting there. Way back. This group is clawing toward 500 and trying to prove they belong back in the playoff mix. And now, here comes a massive division test against the Cleveland Browns. A game that might not just define where they stand in the AFC North, but what kind of team they truly are when it's Ravens versus Browns. You can throw the record straight out the window. None of that matters when you're facing a rival who's seen you at your best and your worst. A team that knows your tendencies, your emotions, and your weaknesses. Division games in the AFC North hit different. Every yard feels heavier. Every hit sounds louder. And every mistake feels like it echoes for weeks. Just look at how the Bills and Dolphins go after each other in their division. Same vibe. Pure intensity. That's exactly what this game brings. Baltimore's been finding its rhythm again, stringing together a few wins that remind fans why. There's so much faith in this roster. They've beaten Chicago, Miami, and Minnesota, two of those wins coming away from home, and the momentum is real. But now, it's about taking that next step, because let's face it, in the AFC this year, there's no guarantee a second team from the North even sneaks into the playoffs. The path runs straight through your division. If you want to play in January, you've got to win the AFC North, and for Baltimore, that means taking down Cleveland right now, right here, to get back to 500 and keep this climb alive. What's wild about the schedule this season is how it's all shaken out. Baltimore finishes both their games against the Browns before they even face Cincinnati or Pittsburgh once. It's a strange little twist, but it makes every one of these early division games even more important. Stack wins now, control the narrative later, because once you get deep into that divisional stretch, every slip could cost you everything. The great thing about this Ravens turnaround is that it hasn't just been about one or the stars carrying the load. It's been a full team effort. Sure, Lamar Jackson looks healthy and confident again. You can see it in his movement, his command, his decision-making, but what's made this stretch so encouraging is how balanced it's been. Offense, defense, special teams, they've all contributed, and honestly, some of the rookies have been huge in this resurgence. Take Malachi Starks, for example. This kid took a lot of criticism early in the year, and yeah, some of it was fair. He looked a little overwhelmed those first few games, trying to adjust to the NFL pace. It happens. We saw it with Kyle Hamilton a couple years ago. A rough start that made some fans panic, only for him to turn into one of the best young defensive players in the league. Starks is following that same path. Over the last few weeks, he's been on a tear, showing the kind of maturity and poise that made the Ravens so high on him during the draft process. The numbers tell the story. According to PFF, in his last 2 games, Starks has allowed just 2 receptions for 10 yards. With 2 interceptions and a passer rating allowed of 16.7, that's elite. That's lockdown territory. And what makes it even better is hearing veterans like Kyle Hamilton praise him, not just for his performance, but for his attitude. Hamilton said something that really stuck with me. He joked about how some people expect rookies to figure it out in 5 games or less. And he was like, God forbid it takes a rookie more than 7 games to adjust. That's the kind of perspective you need in a locker room. He went on to say that Starks has been showing this maturity all along, that he's 21 but carries himself like he's been in the league for a decade. He's vocal, confident, and already stepping into leadership moments, which is rare for a young guy. You can see why the Ravens had him so high on their board and why Georgia coaches raved about him. Hamilton said after the last game that he told Starks he's just getting started, that he's going to keep building on this momentum and become a real problem for opposing offenses. And honestly, you can see it. The difference in Starks now compared to the first month of the season is night and day. It's all about poise. Early on, he was trying to process everything too fast, reading the routes, reacting to the movement, trying not to get beat deep. But now, you can tell he's slowing the game down in his head. He trusts his technique. He trusts his instincts, and he's playing free. That's when the great plays start coming naturally. It's like the saying, you don't make big plays in this league by luck. You make them because you prepared for them, you studied film, you grinded in practice. So when the moment comes, you're ready. Stark's interceptions didn't just happen by accident. They were the result of hours of preparation and confidence built through repetition. That's growth. And it's exactly what you want to see from a young defender. Learning how to survive in one of the toughest divisions in football. Kyle Hamilton recognizing that, calling it out publicly. That means a lot. It shows there's respect and belief in that locker room, and you can feel that energy ripple through the defense. It's contagious. When veterans see rookies step up, it pushes everyone to raise their level. What's even more interesting is how the Ravens' defensive scheme has evolved to help Starks and the other young guys. Bringing in Alohi Gilman has changed the way they line up, giving them flexibility with 3 safety looks. That move took pressure off Hamilton and gave Starks a chance to grow without feeling like he had to do everything at once. It's one thing to know your assignment. It's another to have confidence that the guy next to you knows his, too. That trust allows you to play freer, to disguise coverages, to use deception, to bait quarterbacks into mistakes. That's what we're seeing now, early in the season. Starks was just trying to do his job and survive. Now, he's dictating plays, he's baiting throws, anticipating routes, and putting himself in position to take the ball away. You could see it in that interception. Against Minnesota, he wasn't thinking, he was reacting. That's what happens when a player feels comfortable in the system. And look, this growth doesn't mean the mistakes are gone forever. Every young player has ups and downs. But it's clear now that Starks isn't just trying to belong, he's starting to excel. You can tell his teammates know it, his coaches know it. And even opposing quarterbacks are starting to notice. For the Ravens, that's huge. Because when your young defensive backs are confident, it changes everything. It gives the pass rush more time. It gives the linebackers room to be aggressive. It allows the coordinator to open up the playbook. And it gives Lamar Jackson and the offense the confidence that even if they stumble, the defense can pick them up. That's what's been missing the past couple of years. That complete team balance. Too often, the Ravens have leaned too heavily on Lamar to be Superman, but lately, the defense has been matching his energy. They're flying to the ball, creating turnovers, and showing that same swagger that defined those great Ravens defenses of the past. And now, heading into this matchup with Cleveland, it's time to prove it wasn't just a good 3-week run. This game is about consistency. It's about showing that this new version of Baltimore football is here to stay. Because the Browns aren't going to roll over. They're physical, they're nasty up front, and they're fighting for their own spot in the AFC picture. The Ravens have the star power, Lamar, Roquan, Hamilton, and Drews, but what's been most impressive is how everyone else has bought in. It's a collective mindset now. No one's waiting for someone else to save them. They're attacking every snap with purpose. And if that continues, this team could be a nightmare down the stretch. Still, it all comes back to the same thing. Get to 500. That's the goal. Get back even. Stay in the hunt, and then start climbing. Because once you hit that mark, it's a whole new season. Confidence snowballs, the energy shifts, and suddenly, all those early season losses start to feel like a distant memory. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the part of the story that no one really saw coming. The latest twist involving Jaire Alexander. Yeah, this one hit a lot of people by surprise. The former Ravens corner, who was traded earlier this season and landed with the Eagles, suddenly stepping away from football to focus on his physical and mental health at just 28 years old. You never want to hear that kind of news, especially about a player who still has so much talent left. But honestly, when you look at what he's been through the past couple of years, it starts to make sense. This is a guy who, when healthy, could hang with almost anyone in the league. Top 10, maybe even top 5 cornerback talent. We saw flashes of that during his time in Green Bay. The range, the aggression, the confidence to take on elite receivers one-on-one. But once the injuries started piling up, everything seemed to shift. It's not just the physical pain that gets to a player. It's the doubt that creeps in when your body doesn't respond the way it used to. That fear of not being the same athlete you once were. That can eat away at your confidence. And for a player who built his reputation on swagger and self-belief, that's tough to live with. By the time he got to Baltimore, it was clear something wasn't right. Even though he said it wasn't an injury thing, that the Ravens just preferred other guys ahead of him. You could tell watching him on the field that something was off. He didn't look comfortable in his movements. He didn't look like the same guy who used to play with so much fire and freedom. And it's crazy how quickly things can change in this league. One bad camp, one missed him injury, and suddenly you're fighting uphill just to stay relevant. Kadri Ismail, who's been around the game long enough to recognize patterns, made a really interesting point about Haire's situation. He said what frustrated him most was seeing how those injuries and the way he trained afterward might have affected his movement patterns. The mechanics that make a cornerback explosive, quick, and agile. When those mechanics get thrown off, you're basically trying to relearn how to move. That's brutal. Especially at the professional level, where every split second matters. It's like your body remembers how to do it one way, but your injuries are forcing it to adapt another way. And the result is hesitation. That hesitation can kill a career, because in football, particularly as a corner, hesitation is the difference between a pass breakup and a touchdown. And that's what Kadri was getting at. He felt like Haire was robbed of his natural movement, that his rehab didn't correct what needed fixing, and that it left him second-guessing his body. That's the kind of thing that can make a player spiral mentally, especially when you're used to being dominant and now you're struggling to trust your instincts. So hearing that Haire stepping away to get right physically and mentally, it's sad. But it's also understandable. Sometimes stepping away is the only way to truly heal. We've seen it before in this sport. The game demands everything from you: your time, your focus, your body, your mind, and when it stops being fun, when it starts to feel like you're constantly fighting yourself just to perform, it wears you down fast. This next stretch of games will define who the Ravens are. Get to 500, and suddenly the narrative shifts. You're no longer the team that started 1-5, you're the team that fought back, found its rhythm, and refused to quit. From there, everything opens up. The confidence grows, the chemistry deepens, and the playoff picture starts to come into focus. That's the mission right now. Stay healthy, stay hungry, and keep stacking wins. The margin for error is small, but the potential is massive. Because when you look at this Baltimore roster from the stars to the rookies, you can see something building. The pieces are starting to click, the energy feels real, and the belief inside that locker room is stronger than it's been all year. The road ahead won't be easy. But that's nothing new for the Ravens. This is a franchise built on resilience, forged in tough games, and defined by players who step up when it matters most. And as this team keeps pushing toward 500 and beyond, you get the feeling that the best football of their season might still be ahead. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Whispers are swirling out of Baltimore, and if the reports are true, the Ravens locker room could be facing its biggest storm in years. Sources close to the team say Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP and face of the franchise, has issued a stunning ultimatum to the Ravens front office. If he stays, I'm out. The identity of he remains shrouded in mystery, but insiders suggest it's someone within the organization, possibly a coach or a high-ranking member of the staff, whose relationship with Jackson has soured beyond repair. Those close to the situation describe growing tension behind the scenes, marked by disagreements over play calling, locker room dynamics, and the direction of the offense. It's not the first time Lamar has voiced frustration over how the Ravens' leadership handles internal matters. Known for his loyalty and fiery competitiveness, Jackson has often defended his teammates publicly, but this latest outburst, reportedly delivered in private and now leaking through the team's inner circle, paints a picture of a quarterback who feels cornered and unheard. Teammates are said to be walking on eggshells, trying to keep the peace as speculation spreads like wildfire. Some believe this could be a power move by Lamar, a way to force changes he believes are necessary for the team's success. Others see it as a sign that patience is wearing thin after years of playoff heartbreak and mounting internal pressure. For now, the Ravens are keeping silent. No official comment, no statement from the front office, just a tense calm before what could be a massive shakeup. Whether this ultimatum is a genuine threat or strategic leverage remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: when Lamar Jackson speaks, especially with words as heavy as "I'm out," Baltimore listens. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.